Yep, we'll look at the charts here first. We got Pulse just hanging out at all-time lows, essentially. I think it's the lowest that we've ever been on the Pulse token while we've been live on air. I can't remember where we were at last week, but yeah, it was probably close to this anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't know. We got Pulse at 4 zeros and a 2.7 right now. I did just DCA right before this, so watch out. We were probably going to have a falling knife here into tomorrow. We'll go down another 25%. Pulse X right now, of course, it's been ever since the whole I don't know if you guys remember this. It was a month ago. This thing happened where the SEC case got dismissed and things felt good for about 5 minutes or so. We actually had Pulse X reach and actually surpass Pulse parity, which was freaking amazing. I mean, that's of all the things that have happened in this ecosystem for 2 years, Pulse X's performance has been awesome. Obviously, I have no complaints there at all. It's at 4 zeros and a 2.27 right now. We have Ink token at $1.39. Hex has been hit and butchered pretty bad over the last few days. Hex is at 0061, and eHex, I've been using Go Pulse lately, so they won't show it because they don't like to. I don't know. It's
0016.
Okay. I figured it was probably right around 002 or something. So I bought all 4 of those earlier today. So yeah, just keep on buying lower and buying lower. But yeah, what do you think? Crypto7 says he blames the Vietnamese guy. So what do you make of this? Let's look at Pulse, because I mean, this is rough. I mean, this is pretty rough right now. Again, we got Pulse X chart looks good. If you've only been DCAing into Pulse and this ecosystem's entire existence, then I don't know why you'd be doing that, but you'd be feeling it a little bit worse than if you were DCAing into everything. But yeah, what do you make of where we're at right here?
Well, I think you're pretty right on when you say this is probably the lowest it's been since we've streamed. Obviously, last week was the 19th, and the low for that day was 2859. So we're actually 0.00005 lower than that. So yeah, all-time lows. There isn't a whole lot to say. I think there's, with everything that's going on, like PDI or not like PDI, there's obviously some extraction happening, some money being bridged out. That's on chain. There's really no denying that part of it, at least. And it's affecting everything. So I think until things get straightened out or figured out, this could stay ugly, at least until then. It's
been ugly for 2 years. Let's make that.
Well, it has. I mean, we have had some nice run-ups and some little bit of rallies. We made it all the way back to sacrifice, a couple times. So, that was just in February. So that's been a year. So for a year, it's been pretty bad. The first year, it was debatable. It didn't perform the greatest, but there were a lot of people that had a lot of coins and a lot of traders and whatnot there. So yeah, this last year though, since March of last year, pretty much it's seen its better days. I hate to look at something and say, oh, well, this doesn't look that bad, but it does. it really does. Hopefully we catch a bottom. I mean, that's what we can really hope for. Some of these levels are being somewhat respected. And I think that is a good thing to keep an eye out for, that you see areas getting bought back up that are being defended. At least we have that currently. If it breaks through there, I don't know. Could be a free fall to Neverland.
Neverland Ranch.
Yeah.
So I don't know if we want to go there.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just trying to find something good to say about the chart.
There's not.
There isn't. I don't want to sugarcoat it.
I will say this though, and I know you alluded to it there. I don't. The PDI stuff alone is definitely not why we're here. Regardless of, I think people make arguments on both sides of that are very good, and I'm not going to claim to have that I definitively know exactly what's going on like so many people are doing, but I think that's a shred of why the price is where it's at right now. I mean, I think we just covered basically why the price is where it is right now in our previous segment, which is that Ethereum's $2,000. And yeah, this is just where we're hanging out right now. So, and really this number, I mean, you and I, Ewok, have talked about this on past streams as far as like, if we would lose that old level of all-time low support of like 0.032 or 1 or whatever it was, many people were looking at 0.28, and that's really kind of where we've been hanging out. I mean, we've even been below there. So,
yeah, a little bit.
So they were
Even
right
currently.
about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's really where we're at. Let me ask you this. Well, okay. I had a couple questions here just to stick just with price charts, which is actually a welcome change to everything else we've been talking about the last few days. We have way low liquidity in this ecosystem, like lower than it's ever been. We've had it pulled for all these different pairs. The yield farms of Pulse and PulseX are pretty much, they're not gone, but they're not worth doing. We've had the ink inflation slashed, the Hex T-share rate has been slashed, all this supply shock. We just had a video upload on the channel about it today. How much of that is why we're here, do you think? Because I think people need to be reminded of that. We did see a crazy supply shock over the last few weeks that with volatility in either direction is going to really impact it. And, you know, of course, we don't see any on the upside yet, but again, Ethereum is $2,000. So what do you, how much of that is it, though?
Well, I mean, so if you want to look at anything positive, I guess that is a really good point that I wasn't thinking. You know, with all the liquidity that has dried up, we could be in a lot worse shape. And it really, I don't think, would take a whole lot for it to go on a tear. You know what I mean? With low liquidity comes volatility either way, in either direction. So I don't know that it's necessarily a bad thing with the amount of liquidity. PulseX pairs gone, a lot of ink gone, or pairs with ink gone. So with all of that extracted and only being where we're at, you know, I wasn't even really thinking about it that way, but since you brought it up, it's not terrible, and it could go really quickly. So I think we're just waiting for a spark, something to send it. And once it goes, it could really move quickly. So yeah, nice. Thank you for bringing that up, because I wasn't even thinking with the low liquidity, how quickly things could go one way or another. And I think we maybe should be thankful that we're not a lot lower than we are.
Well, don't count your chickens before they hatch. I mean,
well, I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but
I'm just ready for it. I'm in like FTX November 2022 vibes, walking on eggshells. I feel like right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I still grab my balls in DCA today, but what are you going to do? So you can do at this point.
So you can do.